Hey, I want to read a passage to you from 1 Corinthians chapter 9. And this is where Paul talks about what we can do with our freedom in Christ. You know, we're not free to go back to sin. We're not freed up from sin to go and do wrong things, but we can relate to a lot of other people who have different backgrounds than us and maybe sometimes struggle with different sins than us. And so in 1 Corinthians 9, starting in verse 19, let's see this. Though I am free and belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. Now here, what Paul's saying here is there's a purpose in becoming all things to all people. It's to win some people, all right? So what else does he say? To the Jews, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To those under the law, I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those under the law. To those not having the law, I became like one not having the law, though I am not free from God's law, but I'm under Christ's law, so as to win those not having the law. To the weak, I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings. Wow. Now, this passage can be a little bit difficult to understand for some people. Some people are like, what? I became weak? You know, we're not supposed to be strong, you know, that kind of thing. So understand this context. Paul's saying, I'm trying to relate to people based on their background. That's really all he's saying here. And as I understand their mindset, I can kind of take them from their mindset and move them into the mindset of Jesus. But first, I've got to have a connection point with them. So he's not saying become weak. He's not saying change your religion or go undercover in some other religion and then try to pull people out of that into this. He's just saying be relatable. Be the kind of person that really understands where another person is coming from. It's the difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy says, oh, I feel sorry for you because something bad happened to you or whatever. Empathy is, I'm trying to really get into how you think and how you feel and what's going on in your life so that I can bring you to a better place. So this is what Paul's talking about. So the passage does a great job of explaining the heart behind freedom in Christ. Our heart is to win as many people as possible. And so we ought to be willing to adapt as we need to win other people to God. Now, there's a balance to be found in this, right? Again, we don't literally become weak or literally switch religions and then come right back to ours, bringing as many people as possible. We're consistently followers of Jesus, and we're consistently trying to get stronger, but we need connection points. We need to understand where people are. So Paul knew that he was set free from the law, but he was willing to kind of voluntarily go back and follow some of the laws, rules that he had been freed from, so that the other people knew he could relate to them. And once they knew that, he could begin to explain, well, you know, Jesus declared all foods clean. You know, we've only been eating kosher food, but Jesus says it's okay to eat these other foods. But until he had connected with them at a point by giving up some of his freedoms that he had in Christ, maybe he wouldn't have reached some of those people. So you'll be able to reach more people this way. It does take some more sacrifice. It does take giving up some of the freedoms you could experience in Christ. Maybe you give up, some habits or something like that. Whatever the case may be. But remember that the goal here is to win people for Christ. So let's have that heart. Let's have that mindset. But let's be willing to give up some of the freedoms we have in Christ to help bring other people to freedom in Christ. God bless you.